Today we were looking at the artwork from James Rizzi for a little inspiration in our drawings. So to begin, we are going to have our papers long in front of us, and we are going to start by using squares and rectangle shapes across the bottom of our paper. But the squares and rectangles can all be different sizes and shapes and touching each other. So some of them are very short and long, some of them might be tall and skinny. I have 4 shapes. I'm going to put a 5th, and I'm guessing you're going to get about 6 shapes, stretching across the bottom, all touching. Once we're done with that step, we're going to add more buildings, but we're going to make it look like they're behind these buildings. So they start from the top of another building. They come up, and they can be as long or wide as you'd want, but when they stop, they actually just stop when they touch another building. That makes it look like these are in front. So I'm going to continue that, adding maybe another 5 or 6 buildings. That's my third one. 1, 2, 3. They all look like they're behind the first row I made. Here's a 4th. And I'm actually just going to put maybe 5 on here. After that, we're going to have some fun making faces on our buildings like the artist James Rizzi. I will leave this up on the smartboard for a little inspiration for you, but I encourage you to make faces on 5 of your buildings. Start with 5. If you want to add more, you can. They can be happy buildings. They could be angry buildings using shapes and lines to create. Go ahead and use this for some ideas. We're going to pretend that Mrs. Cleary has gone ahead and added 5 faces to her buildings. When I am done with the faces, my next step is to add doors and windows. So thinking about this first row, this is the only row where we would see doors on our buildings, because the other ones are behind these and we cannot see the bottoms of them. So if you are following with me, you would have about 6 buildings to add doors to. They could be fancy doors with handles. They could be one big door. You could have it split up into 3. After you have doors, you're going to add windows to some of your buildings. So windows could just be square shapes. Windows could be half circle shapes. Maybe you have one big window split up into different parts. Your buildings can have as many or as few windows as you'd like. Your windows could be really fancy. Maybe this one's got some decorations on it. Maybe these have some curtains in them. The last step, once you have faces, doors, and windows, you could also add different tops to your buildings. Maybe they have triangle tops. Maybe they have that half circle shape. Maybe they have some chimneys on top. Maybe this is a trapezoid shape. I am encouraging you to make each building look a little different. You know what? That looks like a face. I'm going to turn that into a face. Once you have your buildings drawn, you can also think about the sky. Do you want it to be daytime or nighttime? Or maybe, like James Rizzi, you could have it be both. He had the nighttime and the daytime in the same picture. That's your choice. Our last step today, when we're all done drawing with our permanent marker, is to add color. Using our marker trick, where we don't have to color the whole shape, but we color just the outline, or maybe we color a little bit all over a shape. We're going to use water to make it spread. So I am not going to color this whole thing, but I just want you to know how important it is that you do not have to use these markers and color everything in super dark. Just a little bit of color everywhere today And then we're going to use that water trick. So I encourage you to add a lot of color. And the water part is what we do last. So getting our brush just a little bit wet, I am gently rubbing this shape to get that blue to spread. I would rinse my brush off before I go to my next shape, gently rubbing to get the color to spread. The red didn't spread as nicely as the blue, but it did a little bit. Let's see the pink. Yeah, that blue is by far the nicest spreading. When you look at my finished example, all I did was outline with a color around the buildings or added a little color all over them. Your finished projects are going to go in the drying rack.